Content warning: the stories and themes shared throughout this podcast may contain themes that can be distressing for you. If needed, please pause and do what you need to do to take care of yourself. If needed, please reach out to a mental health professional for support.
Welcome back to another episode of Resilient AF with Blair and Alana, but pause the Alana and bring in someone extremely special. Genicca, like paprika. I love that's how your name is. Genicca Whitney. She's amazing. I've known her for a while. And it's amazing how our worlds brought us back together, but she's a holistic financial strategist, an independent financial planner dedicated to transforming the financial culture of families and communities by helping high performing individuals and entrepreneurs optimize, protect, and multiply their wealth. With nearly 2 decades of entrepreneurial experience, beginning with purchasing her first real estate investment at 19 for her parents and growing into 6 property portfolios, she combines lived experience with strategic precision. I'm going to include more information about her in the show notes, but I'm so honored to have you here today. Welcome.
Wow, thank you so much for this opportunity to share my message. And I'm so happy that we get to connect in this way after meeting you maybe over 10 years ago. I think it was like downtown Granville, and
It
we've
might have been
just grown so much
15.
since.
Yeah,
Yeah, you're right. Before I even got married.
yeah, that's funny. Like life is like 15 years ago. That was like I think I met you before I met Shane or right when I was like getting together with my current husband, and we
Wow.
were we kind of knew each other, and then we were both kind of involved with a business. And
Yeah.
what really strikes me about your story is that you are an immigrant to Canada and that you invested in real estate at 19 to help your parents. And,
Mm,
I think that's a huge challenge for a lot of people is finances. And how do you
mhm.
get ahead, especially when you live in a more expensive place and cost of living is so high, or people in our age group, like we are responsible for taking care of our parents' generation. I'd love to
Mm.
dive into your story if you can share it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, born on bamboo floors, I'm so grateful to have ended up in Canada. And I, unlike most people, didn't go to college or university. So I ended up getting a sales job at 18. And that was my first exposure to entrepreneurship in that I only got paid when I made a sale. I was an independent contractor. So pretty much an entrepreneur. And that allowed me to learn how to earn what I was worth. And at that age, I just decided that I was not going to live in poverty, which I had my entire life. And it was through that sales job I was mentored by millionaires right out of high school who taught me how to sell and how to invest. So by the time I was 19, I had saved enough money. And back then, right, let's go back to when you didn't need that much of a down payment, but it was a significant amount of savings. And I'll never forget the day when my older brother, who was 21 at the time, told me that he was having a baby with his girlfriend. His yeah, he was 21. And I just looked at my brother and I said, you're in trouble. You're basically in trouble by mom and dad. But don't worry because I think I can buy us a house. So at 19, we sat down, my parents, and we dropped the bombs. The first bomb being that my brother was going to be having a baby. The second bomb, which was a blessing, was that I was going to buy them a house. And yeah, by the time I was 19, we got into a suburban brand new home out of the ghettos. And I moved to Vancouver, BC to grow my marketing business in a nutshell.
That's amazing. So, where were you living before you bought that home?
Yeah, we were living in North York, Ontario, and Toronto. So that's where I migrated from. My family knew when I was 4. And we lived in what I consider, not the best parts of Toronto. And I only know that because I remember now in retrospect, we would get boxes of gifts for Christmas. And it was actually from the government. And so, yeah, it was, I mean, it could have been worse for sure, but we were definitely in the lower class living in that part of Toronto.
That must have been so hard to like come over and then, with for your parents, right? Like having to start fresh. And I'm assuming like the like economic situation where you were, and then coming to Canada is completely different, and the
Yeah.
culture and everything. And for your parents to come over, like
Yeah.
what a shock. Like I'm third generation Canadian. And
Hmm.
so I don't have that experience that you have. But I have
Yeah.
stories that my grandma would tell me about her mom who came over, and
Mhm.
language and cost of living and whatnot. What can you walk us through maybe a point in your life where you realize, like, I want to make money and I want to invest and I
Mhm.
want to help my parents? Like, can you walk us through maybe
Yeah.
your younger years and when you kind of had these
Totally.
revelations? Because most 19-year-olds aren't buying homes. In fact, the people are living at home until they're like mid 20s. And I know people in my like our generation who are just like moving back in with their parents.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I truly believe it, that light and that fire in me, when it comes to making money and investing, it was born through pain. And I know a lot of people that, have migrated here who have struggled financially can relate to the pain around seeing your parents fight about money, throw things in the house and break things because they were stressed out about money. Uh, my nervous system was basically destroyed because of the financial trauma that was going on between my parents. And I can't say that there was a moment where I decided I'm going to make money or invest money. I just knew that I was not going to recreate this pattern and that I wanted a different life. And so, you know, getting a sales job for me was felt like the opportunity, because I did not want to be put in a box and be told what I was worth, because I was looking at what my parents were doing and I was like, that's obviously not the solution.
Yeah.
And so it was through the pain that I discovered my power to, uh, or my desire to want to make more money. And it was through working with mentors who actually noticed how much money I was making at a very fast rate at a very young age, who actually sat me down at the office one day and was like, okay, well, I don't know who's telling you what to do with your money, but these are your options. And so I was like 18 turning 19, and they taught me about mutual funds. They told me about TFSA, RSPs, and at the time, and real estate, of course. And so at the time, I was living at home, so I didn't have any expenses. You know, wasn't spending frivolously. I had friends who were shopping at Aritzia and dropping hundreds of dollars at a time. And for me, I got more excited about investing. So I opened up multiple accounts, not knowing what any of those meant. And and from there it just snowballed. I became obsessed with watching my bank account grow. I became obsessed with hiding it and not seeing it, assuming I'm back to zero. So the hunger, that I now developed with, okay, back at zero, let's go again. It just became like an obsession for me.
I love that. And do you think you still have that obsession?
Yeah, it's carried on throughout my, early adult years, even into motherhood. When I decided I wanted to work from home, and I had two girls back to back, two under two, I never imagined working from home. Social media and making money online wasn't really a thing, over 10 years ago. But when I had my kids, I realized, holy shit, I can't be doing what I was doing if I want to spend more time with my kids. And so just I just shifted that hunger to the digital space, and and started my online business and built multiple income streams just working from home, and learned how to use social media to make money, and then of course continue to invest in real estate.
I love that. And you've also like over the time I've known you, you've like invested also in education and certifications. And what I think is really cool is
Um,
online, like you share a lot of what is possible in a way that's
mm,
understandable. Like I know when it comes to RSPs, TFSAs, all those things, like it can be really confusing. And I'm only really starting to fully understand the power of investing and having my money make money. And we do have real estate as well. But it took me decades where you
mhm.
learned that when you were 19. And I don't know what kids are learning these days, but What is it that you wish you would have understood back then about the way you invested?
Yeah, actually, so, I think most people understand that real estate is a great investment, right? And so I I became fixated on just investing in real estate. And I later realized that there's other ways to invest that, can serve, short-term goals. Because when you're investing in real estate, the idea is to hold on to it more long term. And, you don't really have access to your investment until you sell your home, right? So
Yeah,
I just wish that there was other ways I was exposed to that I could have more liquid short-term investments, um, without, assuming that real estate was the only way to go. Because, as an investor with real estate, it's not always pretty, right? I've had to
right.
hold properties that I didn't expect to because the market was down. I had to deal with tenants when I didn't want to. I had to deal with, delays with, the development of certain buildings and everything else in between. So I think I would have saved myself a lot less of a headache had I diversified in ways that would support me more short term.
And what are those ways, those short-term ways?
Yeah, so even like learning how to strategically invest inside a TFSA. Uh, yeah, I was actually just talking to a client about this, and most people assume that a tax-free savings account is just for a savings account. You're just going to save the money in this tax sheltered account and you're good to go, right? But what most people don't realize is that you can actually invest the money that is in your TFSA so that it's actually compounding more interest every year. So, had I known that, the same money that I was putting inside my TFSA would have grown a lot quicker and a lot bigger and faster had I invested inside my TFSA as just as one of the examples that I realized. And then, if you're as a real estate investor, I didn't know that you could defer your property taxes. So at the end of the year, if you're not contributing to your property taxes monthly and you got that big bill, right? I didn't know you could defer it and that there was other ways you could actually be reinvesting the money that you would have spent for property taxes. And so, yeah, I mean, I wish I had known that sooner. I learned that about that very recently. So it's actually one of the reasons why I'm so motivated and inspired and excited to share everything that I've learned and all the gaps that I wish I had known
Yeah.
about and that I was aware to help people fill in those gaps because I think a lot of people know certain concepts and maybe they have somebody who does the investing on their behalf, but nobody will be more vested and more interested in the growth of it than yourself, right?
Yeah.
So giving that financial power back to you, I think, has been the most rewarding part of my journey today.
I think that's really powerful. And like, you have two young daughters and, mirroring that, I think is really, or like showing them what's possible is so important because like, I know I come from a family with money trauma and our trauma was my dad was very successful. He was a diamond dealer and a gemologist, and he developed a really bad drug addiction, mental health struggles, sold his business, left our family. So when I was young, we lived a certain lifestyle. Like there's pictures of us in like furs, and my mom was, and dad with Wayne Gretzky. And when my dad sold his business and left the family, my mom then became a single parent and had
Mm,
no financial support. And we were in Hebrew school and we went, we had lessons and we had daycare. We had all these things. So our mom's main focus was providing us the life she wanted to give us. And it's interesting because I don't think we were really taught like good money habits in our family. And so I'm
mhm,
feeling like I have to do all this relearning because money was this thing of like shame or like I need to put this money away so when I die you have money. I need to pay for this insurance so when I die the house is taken care of. And it wasn't like it was
mm,
like this thing of like preparing for the future and then she never retired. She's putting all this money away to retire and then she died. And so
Right.
it's like I don't want that. So I'm like unlearning all these money habits and like it's okay if I go out to drink, go out for dinner and I order a ginger ale or a sparkling water. Like, we always had ordered water if we went out. Oh, it's okay
Mm,
to like, it's okay to spend a bit of money as long as it's within my means. But I've had to
yeah.
learn from like spending every penny to my name because I had a midlife crisis to being scared to spend. And now it's like unlearning everything and reteaching myself. And I think a lot of people have that. And us
Hmm.
being millennials, we've lived through a couple recessions and wars, and all this stuff is happening. Like, is it too late at 40
Hmm.
to start?
Yeah, that's a really good
Is it
question.
too late?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. I think I mean, it's gonna sound cliche. I really feel like it's just you're just getting started. You're just getting started in this time with more awareness and more clarity, with more confidence. And so it's not too late because there's so much that can happen between now and like a year. So much has happened since I pulled the plug even on my marriage and rebuilding my life, right? It's about what do we know today, what have we learned, who do we want to be, and the work that we do around healing our relationship with money, which I have done over the last decade. I feel like so many beautiful things can happen the moment we decide, whether we're 40, whether we're 50, whether we're 60. It's never too late because the lessons that we've learned over the years can truly open so many doors faster than we've ever imagined. And I'm seeing that in my own life. The more that I the more that I heal my relationship with money, the more I become more disciplined with my money, the more that I track my expenses, and the more that I realize that money is energy. So, yes, I get to treat myself, and yes, I get to save for a rainy day, right? So, I feel like if we all took some time to get really clear on um, the lessons we learned and the life that we want to live, our current financial reality, and where we ultimately want to be, and then reverse engineer. I
Mhm.
think if we do those things, if we reverse engineer and then bring in the support where we need the most support, and guidance where we need the
Yeah.
most guidance, anything is absolutely possible. So it's not too late for anything. It's just what are we doing now to make a difference that's different from what we've done in the past for a different result.
I love that. And it's interesting because like my belief before, because I don't have kids, was like, I can't take it with me. I'm not going to pass it on. Like, spend it now. And then it's like, oh,
Oh, I see.
and like, so like that was my trauma. It was just like after my mom and dad died, I was like, well, I may as well go spend all my money and do all the things because I'm probably going to die soon and I can't die with my money. And it's really interesting because I like definitely learned some hard lessons. And now I'm in that place of um, like learning more about investing and what to do with my money. And I'm 40. And so you're right, it isn't too late. And it's okay that I did all of those things because I can't go back in time and I had a great time and I had a lot of lessons learned. Um, and I think like, that's one end of the spectrum. The other end is someone who's so disciplined that they make money, they invest it all, and they don't even allow themselves to live. And then all of a sudden
Yeah.
they die. So like,
Yeah.
where's that happy balance, right? And like, I
Yeah.
think the other thing is like, and I know your focus is on investing, but like, what's your feeling on multiple streams of revenue and all how like the stress of money relates to resilience?
Mm, yeah. Yeah. Ooh. I'll speak just from my own experience because there's um, definitely been seasons in my life where I needed to become absolutely resourceful. And, when for example, when you're in a relationship and you're realizing that one partner is struggling financially, right? Then we need to become resilient and resourceful and look at other ways to bring in income. And so while I was raising my two girls, I had my online coaching business helping women build businesses online and build their brands, I decided, okay, if my partner isn't able to do his part, what can I do to generate more income? And so, I teach a lot of this, but bringing in other income streams under one brand. What can I sell? How can I, how can I add, maybe another revenue stream without doing too much more work? But how can I do this in a way where I am magnetic? People want to follow me. People want to learn from me. People want to buy from me, even though there's things at home that are absolutely chaotic, right?
Yeah.
It's like, how do you show up online? Because for me, when I think about multiple income streams, I'm not trying to get like 10 jobs, right? I'm working online. And when you're building a business online and life happens behind the scenes, there is a level of resiliency that is demanded of you,
Mhm.
or you will not see results. And so, building multiple income streams requires resiliency because um, you're going to need to be disciplined with your time. You're going to you're going to have to stop using your kids as an excuse for, not getting things done. You're
Mhm.
going to have to wake up earlier than your kids some days and later beyond bedtime. And unless you're willing to become resilient, money will not find you, because money is a byproduct of your level of resiliency and your level of courage, your level of discipline. And I know this because I had to have a conversation with myself when we were going through these financial challenges as a family, and somebody had to pull up their socks. And and it was either pull up my socks or we are going down. And so, I mean, I had a choice, but I also didn't have a choice. And I think you don't really know resiliency until you decide you're going to show up no matter what. And then you're like, wow, that's what it is.
I love that. That's beautiful. It's funny because like there's like all these sayings that they're like money doesn't buy you happiness, but money helps you get out of debt and manage the things in your life that cause you stress.
Totally, totally.
Yeah.
I think if you're chasing it, there's intentions that are true, right? If
Mhm.
you're chasing money to be happy, um, you might not be happy. But if you're chasing money to feed your children or to protect your future, I think I think that there's a different perspective towards it. And I think people who say money doesn't buy you happiness also could be denying themselves of what they're truly capable of having and worthy of having. It's almost a cop out. Well, I don't want money. Money doesn't buy you happiness. It's like, well, um, have you explored what is possible for you, right? Are
Yeah.
you limiting yourself? So yeah, that's definitely a story that can hold us back in so many ways.
Yeah, that's really beautiful. I love your story. It's so inspiring. So maybe let's wrap up with a piece of advice. What
Ooh, okay.
advice do you have right now for someone who is listening, who is maybe of our generation, a vintage millennial, and they're struggling financially and they just need something to change? What should they do?
Hmm. Yeah, that's a good one. If they're struggling financially, yeah. I mean, for me, what really helped, because I think money is such a sensitive topic and there's a lot of shame and guilt associated with any financial challenges we're going through. And what I have found in those moments of shame, guilt that causes isolation, what I have found is actually giving myself permission to receive the support that I need to climb out of whatever situation I'm in, because of the shame and guilt, we isolate and we don't tell anybody, we don't talk to anybody about it.
Mhm.
And that's mentally draining and spiritually, um, it's painful. So if we could learn to open our heart and speak to a stranger find somebody that we are motivated or inspired by, even on
Yeah.
social media. I've hired coaches and mentors to help me and pull me out of, my own financial challenges. That has been the most supportive and helpful, is literally opening your heart, becoming resourceful, and asking for help, because there are so many people that that would be happy to help. We just have to be willing to receive it and not let our shame, guilt, or those seasons of isolation drown us in even more despair.
That's beautiful. That's amazing advice. How can people find you if they're like, I want more of her in my life?
Yeah, I spend a lot of time and, share a lot of wealth tips on Instagram at genicca.com. You're also welcome to connect with me on LinkedIn. My name is Genicca Whitney, so you can find me there. And then my website, genicca.com.
I love it. Amazing. Thank you so
Yeah,
much for
thank
joining
you.
us.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. That was so much fun.
And thank you to everyone who tuned in for another episode of Resilient AF. It's okay to not be okay. You will get through it. You're not meant to do it alone. Let us be there with you and for you. Let us hold your hand. And just remember, friends, you are Resilient AF. That's a wrap for another episode of Resilient AF with Blair and Alana. And thank you for listening. Are you feeling inspired to bounce forward?
Let's connect at theglobalresilienceproject.com, where you can read many stories of resilience, buy our books, shop our clothing line, learn more about how to strengthen your resilience muscle, be empowered, and more.
Remember, friends, you are Resilient AF.